Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take the sources you send our way, those notes, research papers, all that dense stuff, and really pull out the key bits you can use.
Exactly. And today we've got something that sounds simple on the surface, but it's actually, well, pretty powerful. It's based on research notes a listener shared.
Yeah, it's this framework for kind of upgrading your baseline health,
Yeah.
managing chronic pain maybe, and it's all built around a mnemonic.
That's right. It's called SEEDS, 5 letters. Originally, maybe for migraines, but the strategies, they apply much more broadly. We're talking sleep, exercise, eat, diary, and stress.
And looking through these notes, it's clear this isn't just, vague advice like get more sleep or eat well.
No, definitely not. For each letter, the sources highlighted specific research-backed techniques. Some are actually quite surprising.
So that's our mission today, right? To dig into those specifics, pull out the techniques that could really make a difference in how you approach your well-being.
Precisely. The person who compiled these notes clearly saw these as strategies worth looking into right away. Real leverage points.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack seeds letter by letter, and we're starting with S for sleep, which, for anyone dealing with chronic stuff, sleep is often...
Well, it's a battlefield.
It really is. And interestingly, the main thing discussed in these notes wasn't medication. It was a behavioral therapy, sleep restriction therapy, or SRT.
SRT, okay. Tell us about that.
Well, it's part of a broader approach called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBT-I. But SRT itself, the core idea is kind of wild. It works by limiting the time you actually spend in bed.
Hold on. Limiting time. When you're struggling to sleep, you're just allow less time for it. That feels completely backwards, especially if pain's a factor. Won't that just make things worse at first?
It's a fair question, and yeah, it sounds counterintuitive. But it's strategic. You're not just randomly cutting sleep.
The idea is, by restricting your opportunity to sleep, say, only allowing yourself the 6 hours you actually average, even if you're in bed for 18, you create mild sleep deprivation.
Mild sleep deprivation.
And that builds up your natural biological drive to sleep.
Yeah.
Your homeostatic sleep drives get stronger. So when you do go to bed for that shorter period, you're more likely to sleep deeply, more efficiently.
Ah, I see. So you're aiming for a shorter but more solid block of sleep instead of maybe 8 hours of tossing and turning.
Exactly. Quality over quantity, especially initially. But it requires data. You absolutely have to track your sleep first using a diary, which we'll get to know your true average sleep time.
Right, you need that baseline.
Then, as your sleep efficiency improves, meaning you're spending less time awake in bed, you start to gradually increase the time you allow yourself in bed, maybe just 15 minutes at a time, every few days or a week.
Slowly rebuilding the time based on actual success sleeping. That makes sense. It avoids that awful cycle of lying there, getting stressed about not sleeping, which of course makes you even more awake.
That's the cycle it aims to break. The ultimate goal, according to the notes, is retraining your brain. Bed equals sleep. That's it.
Not bed equals scrolling on your phone or watching TV or worrying.
Precisely. Get rid of those other associations. Relink bed and sleep. It's a powerful mental shift, a real leverage point, like the source said.
Okay, wow. That's, a big one.
Yeah.
Let's move to the first E, exercise, which again, if you're dealing with pain or fatigue, can feel like climbing Mount Everest.
Right. And the advice here flips the usual go hard or go home script.
Yeah.
It's almost shockingly simple.
How simple are we talking?
The main takeaway from the sources was basically any movement is better than zero movement. Any activity, the bar is incredibly low. They actually mentioned a specific threshold. Get this.
Yeah.
Even just 5 minutes a week.
5 minutes a week? Seriously, it feels almost symbolic. Is that really enough to do anything physiologically, or is it purely about the mental game of starting?
Well, initially, it's largely about breaking the inertia, removing any excuse not to start.
Yeah.
It's about consistency, building that tiny habit.
Okay, the psychological win.
Exactly. But the sources also suggest that even very small amounts of activity start releasing beneficial neurochemicals, like endorphins, which can help modulate pain perception. You build the habit, you build confidence, then maybe you think about intensity or duration. Start tiny.
That really reframes it. Less about physical performance, more about neurochemical management and routine building. Okay, that leads us to the second E. Eat.
Yes, and here the notes detailed a very structured approach for figuring out potential food triggers for pain or inflammation. It's called the Elimination Diet.
Right, I've heard of that, but the notes described it in a specific way, not just avoiding stuff.
Very specific. It's less of a diet and more of a structured self-experiment. You start by completely avoiding a list of common potential trigger foods for a set period.
Like gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, things like that.
Usually, yes. The most common suspects, you avoid them strictly for maybe, say, 3 or 4 weeks. This lets your system clear out, gives you a clean slate.
Okay, the avoidance phase. Makes sense. What's next?
This is the crucial part, the reintroduction phase. After the avoidance period, you bring those foods back one by one.
Ah, okay. Not all at once.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
You'd add back, say, dairy for a couple of days, see how you feel, record everything, wait a few more days, then try adding back eggs. Again, track symptoms.
So you can pinpoint exactly which food, if any, causes a reaction or brings back symptoms.
Precisely. If you react, you found a likely trigger. If you don't, it's probably safe for you. It's methodical. It gives you actual data on your body.
Data. Which brings us perfectly to D, diary. This sounds like the simplest step, maybe, but based on SRT and the elimination diet, it seems foundational.
Oh, it's absolutely critical. Maybe the most important tool in the whole SEEDS framework, honestly. Try and remember symptoms, triggers, what you ate 3 days ago. It's impossible. Our memory plays tricks.
So the diary solves that. What are its key jobs, according to the notes?
Okay, so 4 main things. First, like we said for SRT, it sets your baseline. Where are you starting from objectively?
Got it. Step 1.
Second, you use it to track the frequency and severity of your symptoms over time. Are things getting better, worse, staying the same? Quantify it.
Makes sense. Track the trends.
Third, and this is huge, it helps you identify potential triggers. You might notice, every time I have X food or after a stressful Y event, my symptoms flare up. You spot patterns you'd otherwise miss.
Connecting the dots.
Exactly. And fourth, it monitors how well different treatments are working. Is the SRT helping your sleep efficiency? Did reintroducing gluten cause a problem? The diary holds the answers.
So really, without the D for diary, the other C's elements are kind of flying blind. You can't measure progress or confirm triggers effectively.
Pretty much, yeah. It ties everything together with objective data.
Okay. That brings us to the final letter, S for stress. Another huge factor for almost any chronic condition. The notes mention 3 specific techniques here.
Right. They focused on cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, mindfulness, and biofeedback, a mix of psychological and, well, tech-assisted approaches.
CBT and mindfulness pop up a lot. How did the sources define them specifically in the context of pain management?
So CBT was framed as psychotherapy helping you identify and then change negative thought patterns and behaviors around pain, like challenging that catastrophic thinking or fear that can amplify suffering.
Changing your reaction to the pain signal.
Exactly. And mindfulness complements that by teaching you to sort of observe the pain sensation without judgment, separating the physical feeling from the emotional suffering it often triggers.
Okay, those make sense. But biofeedback, that sounds more technical, maybe less accessible. What is it and how does it fit in?
It's actually really interesting. The notes define biofeedback as a mind-body technique using electronic sensors on your body.
Sensors, what do they measure?
Things you don't normally consciously control, like muscle tension, skin temperature, heart rate variability, even brainwave patterns sometimes. These sensors give you real-time feedback, maybe a graph on a screen or a sound.
So you can literally see or hear what your body's doing internally in response to stress?
Precisely. You see your muscle tension shoot up when you have a stressful thought. Then you try a relaxation technique, like deep breathing, and you see the tension level drop on the monitor immediately.
Ah, so it's like a training tool. It makes the connection between your thoughts or feelings and your body's physical stress response completely explicit.
Exactly. It teaches you conscious control over those physiological functions. You learn how to relax your muscles or regulate your breathing or calm your heart rate because you get instant feedback that it's working.
And I guess with smartwatches and apps tracking things like heart rate variability now, maybe basic forms of biofeedback are becoming more available to people outside of a clinic.
Absolutely. The tech is making it much more accessible. It provides a really concrete way to tackle that S for stress.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. SEEDS. Sleep, exercise, eat, diary, stress. Looking at the specific techniques, the sources highlighted things like SRT, the ultra-low bar for exercise, the methodical elimination diet, the crucial diary, and tools like biofeedback. It's clear this isn't just basic lifestyle advice.
Not at all. It's a framework built on quite sophisticated, actionable strategies. Mastering these fundamentals, using these specific methods, can really shift the needle on chronic health issues and pain management. It gives you agency.
It really does. The sources concluded this wasn't just nice stuff to try, but foundational strategies worth adopting, right?
Definitely. A clear call to action. These are things to research, understand, implement. They can create a much better baseline.
A practical toolkit, really.
Mm.
So the final thought we want to leave you with today is this. Thinking about these specific techniques we've unpacked, the counterintuitive SRT, the tiny steps exercise, the structured eating plan, the essential diary, the stress tech, which single letter of seeds might offer you the most immediate leverage right now? Where could you get the biggest win for improving your baseline?
Something to think about. Which seed could you plant first for the biggest impact on your well-being?
Mull it over. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.